YouTube, Griffin here, coming back to you all with another live stream. For those of you that will be tuning in for the first time, if you don't know who I am, my name is Griffin. I'm the owner of the company Preferred Pest Management in the Dallas, Texas Metroplex. We've been in business for about 3 years now, and I just literally document our journey to, getting the, largest pest control business in our market. And, we document what works for us, what doesn't work for us, and of course answer your questions, which is what we're going to be doing in today's, live Q&A, like the title says. So if you have any questions, first and foremost, if you're joining this live, feel free to ask those questions away. I know we tend to get more people filing in within the first roughly 5 to 10 minutes of the live stream. Usually, I'm trying to be better about actually scheduling these. Just had some stuff going on this morning, had to deal with the baby and whatnot, so wasn't able to do it until the last minute. And if you're new and seeing this after it uploads from live stream to actual video format, you can ask the questions in the comments as well after the show, and definitely subscribe and all that good stuff. That way you won't miss any of those future live streams if you'd like to have your question answered, live right there. And of course, like I said, the show's for you guys. How's it going there, my world? Good morning. And shout out to you all. I always shout out everybody who is willing to dedicate some of their time on a weekend to getting their pest control business questions answered. Shout out to you all. It shows your all's dedication to, growing your knowledge, which will obviously grow your business over long term. Like we said, today we're just going over, some of your all's questions, and I got the answers for you. And if I don't have the answers, I'll just tell you all straight up that, I don't have the answer for that, but I'll look to get on it. I did have a question this morning. I forget your name. You're a newer viewer. Your name was like user something on YouTube. I know how people will have different names and stuff like that on there for their username. Yours was like username something. He asked about where we get our yard signs that we just actually got in the mail finally this week, which surprisingly only took about 2 weeks for them to come in. They say the first order usually takes the longest, about 3 to 4 weeks. We got ours in about 2 weeks, so pretty quick turnaround overall. I like the whole, under promise, over deliver. They, like I said, they said it would take a few weeks and only took about 2. So I like that as a customer, of course. And the company name is Blackburn. If you just type in Blackburn yard signs, something like that, it should pop up. I'll try to remember post-show to actually go on my laptop and, put it in the description box of this video as well. I'm not affiliated with them or anything. Like I said, just answering that question that I got first thing this morning from user, I forget his name. Is like I said, it wasn't like a real name. It was like user something. So Blackburn is the company for that. Again, not affiliated with them, just simply answering that question. And with that, we'll just go ahead and keep diving into the questions. If you all have any questions, of course, just ask. I'm doing this live stream from my actual cell phone, so I'll be keeping the chat pulled up there. Sometimes I have to touch the screen to make sure that I'm not missing anything and scrolling through. But of course, the show, like I said, is for you guys. So feel free to just ask away. Other than that, as I'm waiting for questions to come in, I just literally go based off of the most recent questions, most common questions that we get about either starting a pest control company or growing a pest control company, because those two things seem to be the most common questions in terms of categories that we get from you guys. And of course, to reiterate, we're not like some crazy huge multi-million-dollar company yet. We actually, if you don't know my journey, I started my pest control business back in 2020, and we grew it to a 6-figure company within the first year. And we're just slowly but surely, chopping away at the bit, slowly but surely working our way to 7 figures. Hopefully now that we're in the process of, getting our employee trained, and once he gets out there, our expansion will really start to take off. Plus, we're figuring out more and more about Gorilla Desk and their lead generation, not service, but being able to put our customers in as a lead, so we're able to make our follow-up game that much easier. I'll do an actual tutorial about that for you guys too, because I even literally just found out about that. But one of the first common questions that I get in terms of just simply starting a pest control company, right, is experience. You know, do I have to, like, what experience do I need to start a pest control business? Now, this question, of course, is for people who are just looking potentially for a business idea in general. A lot of my viewers, a lot of you guys who are probably even tuning in, you probably already know the answer to this because it's going to vary state to state. Of course, most states require, as a general rule of thumb, that you are going to need at least 1 year. And this is, again, just basic. I'll do it just as the most basic, minimum that I've heard, and then I'll go based on my state here in Texas. So the minimum that I've heard is you need at least 1 year of experience with a pest control company, or you need some level of education, like in the field of like entomology, I think biology, some type of biology as well. There are, again, this is going to vary state to state, but a lot of times you can, if you'd rather, which I would not suggest this because of course student loans, this and that, but you could go the college route if you wish. The easiest way to be able to gain your eligibility to start a pest control business is going to be getting your experience at a pest control company. Yeah, you're probably not going to make the most money. Some companies pay as low as, from what I heard, like $12 an hour, which is insane. I'm surprised they get anybody to work for that in today's work environment. But as low as $12 an hour to as high as $50,000 to $100,000 as a pest control technician or sales or whatever the case may be. How's it going there? What's her name? Rue knows. How's it going? Good morning. Good morning. But yeah, you'll have to get that 1 year of experience. You need to get licensed. Usually you have to be licensed for a full year as well. I'm having a tough time finding right suppliers. Follow up that, by the way. What suppliers for, like, just your basic chemical, or suppliers for, backpacks? Like, what type of material? I'm assuming chemical, but I don't want to assume. Brew knows, let me know. Like I said, you're going to need that 1 year of experience. And when we say 1 year of experience, we mean 1 year license, not just 1 year. Like here in Texas, you can be an apprentice, which is what everybody has to be at the beginning. Like, for example, when I hired my pest control technician, I had to submit an application, pay $125 for the application. TDA runs their own background check, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. I heard Florida is now doing that too. They'll do literally their own background check, like a criminal background check, make sure they're like eligible to do pest control. Kind of weird, like it's my business, like kind of weird, but okay. Yeah, we had to submit that, and then we're waiting to hear back on that. Of course, once you hear back on that, you get the apprentice license for the technician, and then from there, the apprenticeship, your time as an apprentice doesn't count towards your eligibility for like getting your certified applicator license. So you'd be a apprentice down here in Texas. You can take the technician exam whenever as an apprentice, as long as you heard a weird noise back there. Sound like a boogeyman. As long as you've gotten your training hours in, you met all those requirements, OJT, class training, all that, you can take your technician license exam whenever here in Texas. So literally within like 1 month or so, you could go in, take your technician exam, and then the moment you pass your technician exams, you can then, your 1 year is starting. So say you pass your technician exam July of 23, July of 24, maybe August, I think they want like a full 12 months, July to August of 24, you'd be then eligible to take the certified applicator exam. Assuming you pass those, now you are eligible to start your pest control business. So hopefully that helps answer that common question. That, like I said, is a pretty loaded question because, again, it's going to vary widely state to state. But the minimum, what I kind of just laid out, was kind of like the minimum, which is, the 1 year of experience or education that would, supplement that. Again, you could go the college route. I personally wouldn't. I know competitors, even of mine, who've gone that route. I guess, if you want to build some connections, you're going to like a local college or something, you want to network with people. Like, I'm not saying it's totally pointless, but I'm not going to go to a 4-year school when I could literally do it in less than, a third of the time. Like, that's just my opinion on that. But those are your two options, essentially. And I think Mr. Rue knows, or Mr. or Mrs. Followed it up. Chemicals for sure. One local place, but their chemicals don't have best reviews. Okay. Yeah, so if that's the case, which this is actually the case for my cousin who has a pest control business right in the middle of Missouri, right in between St. Louis and Kansas City, east to west, smack dab in the middle of the state. His closest supplier is, I think 2 hours away, hour and a half to 2 hours away. He goes through the same company I go through. Oh, you're in St. Louis. Okay. I don't recall if the Vesserus is in St. Louis or Kansas City. I forget which one. I would have to connect with him and see. He's in Columbia, Missouri, where like the University of Missouri is and all that. It's a growing area, but it's still relatively, not a lot of stuff in terms of businesses. They're not very business friendly because it's a liberal environment, is what it is, right? But he uses Vesserus online, if you want to look up Vesserus, their actual website, it's weird. The company started out as Univar. They got bought out, I think, by Vesserus a couple years ago. And then if you look them up online, their actual website is called Pest Web. So I'll put that off to the side here if you want to look it up after the show or something. That's the name of the website right here. And we will even order online. We have a Vesserus right down the road, essentially about 20 minutes or so. I think 25 minutes. We have a Vesserus, we have Target, we have, BWI, I think is another chemical supplier. We've got 3 to 5, and then of course we got a couple of those little DIY pest control shops as well, which crack me up. But yeah, we've got suppliers all over down here in the DFW Metroplex. But if you go to Pest Web, that's who we primarily use. I'm not going to say we use them for literally everything because, of course, you always want to price around too when it comes to things like chemical. But when all else fails, Pest Web's pretty much going to have everything that you need. They've even got equipment, tools, drill bits for termite jobs. Like, they've got pretty much everything. A lot of times when, who is it that makes our backpacks? Flowzone, had a brain fart there. Anytime Flowzone comes out with a backpack, they've usually got a couple in the back of their warehouse as well. Like I said, they're kind of a good, when the prices are good too, don't get me wrong, but occasionally, it is what it is. Every business runs sales and stuff like that, right? At different times. There's sometimes Pest Web, Vesserus, they will run a great deal on like Termidor, HE, Termidor SC, what's the other one we use, the bait stations, Trelona, ATBS. They'll run a sale usually once or twice a year on those. It's like the best deal you can find. But then we'll see on another website, and a lot of times, believe it or not, it's one of these DIY pest control websites. They will run a sale on, for example, Onslaught Fast Cap. There's a company, it's not one of the big do-it-yourself websites. It's one of these smaller ones. You got to kind of look for it. They will usually have Onslaught Fast Cap for 1 gallon for only about $370. And if any of you all know anything about Fast Cap, for 1 gallon, that is a steal. Usually, a little 16-ounce bottle of Fast Cap is about $70 or so, $75, depending on where you get it from. Sometimes in the upper 60s, but usually around $70 or so. So you're going to get a whole gallon, about, give or take, 7x roughly, chemical, but you're only paying about 5x the price. So you're getting like 2 16-ounce bottles for free going that route. Sometimes Amazon is cheaper. Yes, occasionally even Amazon. You're dead on, my world. But depending on your location, they may, right, yeah, that too. Yeah, a lot of times I've only used Amazon maybe a couple of times. I know There's an IGR we tend to just go ahead and get off Amazon because it'll literally be here overnight a lot of times. I think it's Teco Pro IGR. We'll get that for, I forget the price because I rarely have to buy it. I have to buy like maybe one bottle a year. We only use it on German roach treatments primarily. We were using it on bed bug treatments, which I'm interested to hear. This is the ongoing debate right now in the pest control industry. Does anyone actually think IGRs work on bed bugs? I have seen so much science evidence that points towards no, they do absolutely nothing. And then occasionally I'll see a study or something, more so from like a pest control company, that they do actually work. So I've been torn on it. I don't really use it for bed bugs. I was when I first started my company, but we tend to use it mostly for German roaches now. But yes, Amazon, does have some as well. Would you do a segment of chemicals and such you use? I'm new to the space, but I have a partnership fell through, and now my financial partner are launching our own. Okay. Yeah, and I actually did this. I believe it was actually our last stream this past week. I broke down I need to go back in that stream actually and put chapters. I'm trying to be better about putting chapters in like our longer form content because I know no one's going to sit through, a 1.5 hour stream usually, right? So I'm trying to be better about once the stream goes back in, putting chapters in there. But I'll give you a quick breakdown, just a quick breakdown of, kind of like our go-tos. I'll just put like go-to chemical. So our go-to, let me make sure I didn't miss any comment or question. I like to use for initials. You like suspend polysone? See, I know some people love suspend polysone. That's what we used at Terminex back when I was a technician there. I'm not gonna say I don't like it. I don't like that you can't keep, which I know you're only supposed to mix the chemical that you're gonna use for the day, blah, 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 blah. Do any of us really do that at the end of the day? Let's be real. And what I don't like is like literally, at least down here in Texas with suspend polysone, you can leave it in like say a backpack, just like 2 gallons, right? You mix 4 gallons, you only end up using like 2 at the end of the day or something. You leave that 1 to 2 gallons or so in your backpack overnight, in the summer especially, I noticed, and it just like cooks it. It's messy, smelly, it starts messing up equipment. It was actually when I worked at Terminex messing up a bunch of the rigs. I don't know if it's that, what is it called, like a polymer, I forget exactly what's all in that chemical because I haven't used it in 3 years now. And that's the other thing too, is it's expensive on top of that. There's so many cheaper options that'll do the same, if not better job. In my experience and in my opinion, our go-to, for example, like we were talking about here, our go-to is called Lambda 9.7 CS. And this, for cost, we usually get it through Pest Web, by the way. We were just talking about them a minute ago. Pest Web, Vestris. Vestris is the company. Their website is pestweb.org or .com, something like that. It's usually, depending on the quantity you buy, going to be somewhere right around $75. We usually get it for about 70, 72 because, we'll go in there and we got good relationship with the guys in there. Miles is, our go-to in there. That guy's awesome. He's super cool guy. But usually around 70, $75 for that. And to put it in perspective, you're usually going to mix this indoors at about 0.2 to 0.4 ounces per gallon. And then outdoors, might want to fact check that actually. It might be just 0.2. We usually only do 0.2 inside. Might want to check the label. I don't know if you can do 0.4. I know for a fact we most only do 0.2, and that's more than enough. But I'm just, just stick with me here. 0.4 to 0.8 ounces per gallon. And this is mixed in a backpack, by the way, because we mix as we go. With our how we have our setup is we have a 35-gallon tank in the back of our truck, which I'm hoping to upgrade to a 50 within the next year. Either that or put the 35 in my Nissan and then put a 50-gallon in the Chevy, assuming we end up keeping the Chevy. But this is the mix rate when you're mixing in your backpack and your B&G, that kind of stuff. Mix rates, obviously, for some reason, I'm assuming because of the factoring in pressure and gallons per minute, this and that, it changes when you're filling it up in your rig. We keep our rig full of water just because we find that we don't have to fix our shit whenever we do that. I've only had one issue ever with my rig, which was a used rig, by the way, when we bought it. And it was only a $1,500, $1,300 to $1,500 setup out the door. We've only had one issue twice ever since we've owned that rig, and that was our fault. It was because I forgot to put my little portable heater in the back of our truck to keep everything from freezing, and our filter cup, little coupling there that holds your filter, the one that unscrews so you can clean out your filter every so often, it busted. So that was our fault. Other than that, we've had no issues with our rig. Why? Because we run nothing but water through it. So we just fill it up with water, fill it up, and then we fill up our backpacks as we go. So that's why we mix at these rates. But like I said, if you're the type that, you're still pulling hose and all that for God knows what reason other than a pony show, the mix rates are going to be slightly different, but usually you're going to be mixing between 0.4 to 0.8 ounces per gallon, depending on the issues. For maintenance rate outdoors, we'll just do 0.4 ounces per gallon. For, initials, customers saying they're having spider issues, whatever the case may be, we'll go ahead and up it to the 0.8 ounces per gallon. And, we only use roughly 2 gallons per house. Maybe 3, if you want to overestimate 3, let's even do that for this example, because where I'm going with this is how much does this actually cost per home. So let's just say we're using an average, we'll split the difference here, we'll say 0.6, obviously that's not what we're using, but we're just kind of saying our average ounce per gallon for our mix rate. And then like I said, let's say we're doing 2 gallons per home, or no, not 2, we said 3 because we want to overestimate. 3 gallons per home. So that means we're using roughly 1.8 ounces per treatment. Comes in, and by the way, this is a 32 ounce is what it comes in. So if you do the quick math real quick in terms of price per ounce, you're going to be paying about $2, and I don't have a calculator because I'm using my phone, but we're paying somewhere right around we'll just say roughly we'll just say $2.50 for easy math. Which I got a feeling it's slightly lower than that, but we'll just roll with that. So if we're paying $2.50 per ounce and we're only using, let's just round up and say 2 ounces per treatment, which you're definitely not using 2 ounces. You're probably using closer to 1 ounce, to be honest, per treatment. But that would be $5, $4 to $5 per treatment. So not a bad cost at all, in my opinion. I'm going to keep the name of the chemical up there because I'm going to put more, and I'll keep the price there as well. I'm just getting rid of some of this math that we've been doing. And by the way, if you all are liking the stream so far, go ahead and do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. It lets me know that you guys like these live streams and that you want me to keep doing them and all that good stuff, of course. So yeah, we're keeping the price. I'll go ahead and also put that, this is for 32 ounces, just in case if anyone's wondering, because I'm a math nerd. When it comes to, and when it comes to business, you need to know this stuff as well. You need to know how much you're paying to treat someone's house, because a lot of people aren't doing the math and they're going out here pricing services at like fucking $20 to $30 per treatment. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, how many miles did you drive to that customer's house? Well, I drove, they were my first stop of the day. I drove 25 miles. Okay, cool. You just used, we'll just say 2 gallons in gas. With today's gas prices, $6, $7 right there that you just paid in gas. Then you just spent, what we say, $4 to $5 just in your chemical spray. That doesn't include any bait. That doesn't include any dust. That doesn't include any interior treatment. That doesn't include employee costs. That doesn't include the wear and tear on the vehicle on top of your gas. You're not making any money. Like, that's what a lot of solo operators specifically don't understand when they're getting out here. They're looking at it strictly from the, big T and big O, they're just screwing the customer. I can go out here and charge a quarter of what they're charging and make a good living. And then 3 months down the road, they're scratching their head wondering why they're going out of business, because they're literally barely making any money, if any money, by the time all's said and done. I think we had a comment or two. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. Let's see. It's a little pricey. Yeah, do not spray it on. Man, I got a story about that. I'll have to tell that at the end of the stream. I got a story about a technician that I was training back at Terminex, just literally power washing a window. But yeah, that's a funny story. My gosh, that dude didn't last long. Cost analysis. I'm a contractor. Oh, are you wanting me to do cost analysis? Or maybe you're just saying what I'm doing. Because, yeah, that's what we're doing right now, kind of. I'm a contractor, already have a painting business and partners with GC. So costing is huge. We are gearing for having, yes, awesome. Yeah, man, it makes me sick to my stomach when I see companies who they'll hire door-to-door companies, and I hear it in pest control groups I'm in. Like, man, we had a door-to-door company come in and we filled 3 routes this summer, and I'm just sitting here like, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I'm thinking too small. Like, I gotta learn the door-to-door game, figure out all that. I hate door-to-door, but damn it, people go for it. People buy it, and it is what it is. If you want to grow, you got to do the things that it takes to grow. But yeah, back to our cost analysis and chemicals that we tend to use. The next one is Niban. This is more so like your granular bait for going around the perimeter of the home. And from what I hear, because you're in St. Louis, my cousin, he lives, like I said, in Missouri as well. He doesn't really use granular treatments. He says they're not really necessary up there, but, I still want to go ahead and factor it in, because he even says, he's like, I still get some, I just don't get the big box just because we don't really use it that often. We just use it in really bad, like, ant cases primarily. Like, every situation is different, of course, but Niban or Entice, these are pretty much the same chemical. The main thing is boric acid, right? Any type of boric acid bait. These two are usually going to be the best, and like the best from the cost standpoint. Usually you're going to get this for, the price just went up like everything, right? The cheapest I'm seeing right now is about $85 to $99. 85 to $100 essentially. And this is for a 40-pound. Oops, man, had a stroke moment. 40-pound box. So it's really not expensive either. When we run the math out on this, we only use about 6 ounces, maybe worst case scenario, a pound. What we do to avoid overusing this stuff is we, instead of using a handheld, spreader, we took the Puffy D bulb duster, took the tip off. I'll have to show you guys that setup. I'm sure I know for a fact I'm not the only one that does this, because I learned it from guys at Terminex. All the technicians there do it. You take the tip off of that, completely, unscrew the whole thing to where all that's on there is the lid. And then literally you can just go around, just puff, 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 and the chemical just shoots right out. I will say it's easier when Niban is made quite a bit thinner. Where with Entice, the granulars are much larger. We have issues with Entice, like it'll get kind of clogged up inside that tip, so we'll have to unscrew it and then kind of bang it. Luckily, all the homes down here are made of brick veneer, so we'll just take it up against the side of the house and just bang it real quick, and that granular will fall out. But that's the only downside of Entice. Overall, though, like I said, they're the same. It's just look for which one's going to be cheaper at the time that you're needing to buy it. Like Vesterous, the guy Miles in there, he already knows what I'm doing immediately. Like as soon as I just say, you know, which granular bait is best right now, he'll just let me know, like, oh, Nyban, you know, is the best price right now. Like he knows every time I go in there, you know, what we're doing when it comes to getting our boric acid. So in terms of the cost, like I said, you're only going to use roughly 8 ounces. So you know what, half a pound, you know, 0.5 of a pound per home. So by that logic, if you know that it's 40 pounds, you're essentially getting, you know, 80 treatments worth, right? How do we know that? You divide 40 by 0.5, it's 80. So you know you're getting 80 treatments out of it. So what does it cost? Roughly $1 and change per treatment. So again, not bad at all. Again, I'm going to erase this, but I'm trying to like keep the price over here for you guys. I'll put a little drop down. We'll just say $1 to $2, because like I said, $2 is like the most you're going to spend. That's if you're essentially using a whole pound. Like at that point, you've got the spreader out. Because, well, I guess technically, if you fill up the whole Puffy D, it will hold 1 whole pound of the granular. So you'd be using the entire thing, which, like I said, pretty much never happens. The most that I've used using the Puffy D was about 8 to 10 ounces, or no, 10 to 12 ounces. And then if we end up having, if I can tell we're going to use more, which is like once a year at the most, we'll go ahead and pull out the hand spreader and just spread it that way. But we try to get the most out of our treatment. Like I was training my technician the past week on was, hey, get the most out of each lap you take around the house. I was telling him, you know, you're sitting here going back and forth, back and forth. I was like, take your backpack, take the Puffy D with your granulars, and I asked him, you know, are you right-handed, left-handed? I'm right-handed. Okay, go along the house with your right side with your sprayer, spray, and as you're spraying, puff out your granulars. Like I was like, knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. You should only be walking around a house 2, maybe 3 times. There's no reason that, you know, you're doing all this back and forth, you know, you're spraying, then you're grabbing the Webster pole, then you're grabbing the granulars, this and that and the other. Like, get the most out of every step. Because that way, you know, it goes back to, they're not paying us for our time. They're paying us for a service. They're paying us to keep bugs and shit out of their home. They don't care if it takes us an hour or if it takes us 15 minutes. Obviously, you don't want to be the spray and pray tech that, you know, just boom, 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 in and out in 5 minutes. You know, we all know those techs. But, you know, do a good job, but still maximize the most out of your hands, your feet, your pockets. You know, there's times where if I know we're going to need to use Delta Dust, pop that pocket open, put your Delta Dust down in there, and, you know, you're doing it all, right? So get the most out of the steps. That's going to maximize your employee costs as well. Different topic for a different day. But bottom line, $1 to $2 per treatment for that. I know my handwriting shit is what it is. Let's see what else we got. And then, of course, like we said, I'm not even going to put Delta Dust on there just because we rarely use Delta Dust anymore. But just to give you a cost perspective, it's like nickels and dimes, like what, maybe $1 per treatment. It's not even worth putting on there. But like I said, we don't even really use it that much anymore. We use it just as a tool. Like we keep it on the truck. And like when we do an initial service, we're using Lambda outside, Lambda outside, Nyban outside, and then on the inside we'll use, usually it depends on what the issue is on the initial service. Is it ants? Then we'll use Alpine WSG. Is it, you know, just maintenance? You know, they're calling, it rarely happens like that, but say they're just trying to get ahead of pests and stuff, we'll use pretty much whatever's in the B&G at that time. For the inside, it could be Alpine WSG, it could be Tempered FX, it could be Lambda mixed at that 0.2 ounces per gallon rate. Pretty much, or even Onslaught Fast Cap. Rarely do we use Onslaught Fast Cap in a house. That's usually going to be for the outside, which leads me to our final, again, these are our go-to chemicals. This isn't to say this is all we use. Like I said, if you want to dive deep in the chemicals that we use and have on the truck, our live stream we did last week literally breaks down, I think it was something like 15 or something chemicals that we use on a weekly basis. But this is just kind of our go-to. The last one is the good old Onslaught Fast Cap. So Onslaught Fast Cap, I'll tell you straight up, it's expensive. In terms of all of the chemicals that we use, going back to that video, that stream that I was just talking about, if you go and look at the cost of all those chemicals, Onslaught Fast Cap is going to be your most expensive one. But with good reason. It works the best, hands down. I don't care what anyone says on spiders. It's the first chemical that I can confidently, Lambda, Demand CS, they're the same thing practically. Those chemicals, they work decent on spiders. It's a good maintenance for spiders and everything, really. It's a good overall everything chemical, which is why we use it for our quarterly services. But if you're dealing with a real spider issue, you're dealing with a new build, like in a new development, or just some out in the country type of home, up against the woods, just a lot of wolf spiders and shit like that, Onslaught Fast Cap. Again, like I always tell people, I don't tell them we're going to eliminate it. That's what I always tell, you got to know how to teach the customer some in this. You have to be able to tell them, hey, there's a reason you don't see all these companies saying pest elimination. It's pest control. We're controlling the population. We're suppressing it. We're not eliminating it. You're never going to eliminate all pests, right? So you have to be able to, explain to your customers. Don't, again, going back to the beginning of the stream, we were talking about, you'd rather under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver. That's how you get bad reviews. You go look at our Google business profile or any of our reviews anywhere, nothing but 5 stars. No 4s, no 3s, no 2s, no 1s. Why? Because we set the expectation, not low, but we set the expectation of, hey, just being upfront, like this is what you can expect. And then when I come back and I'm like, how's it been? Oh, you got rid of like everything. Like you said it was going to be this, this, and that, but I haven't seen anything. Then even sometimes I go out there and I'm like, God damn, I didn't even think it was going to work that good, right? So, like I said, it's a great chemical. The only downside is, like I said, it is expensive. Usually you're going to be mixing this on the outside at 1 ounce per gallon. This is the downside to it. Drew a damn 0 when I meant to put a 1. 1 ounce per gallon. And then inside, what is it, 0.5? Yeah, I believe half an ounce per gallon. And like I said, inside, for me to use it inside, it has to be a really, really bad spider problem. Otherwise, I'm not using it inside. It's not that it's not a safe chemical or anything. Matter of fact, I believe it's one of the most safe because, it's another one of these microencapsulated chemicals. But, again, it's expensive. So if you're going to be mixing this at half an ounce, even on the inside, you're going to go through it quickly, especially if you're buying those little 16-ounce bottles. 16-ounce bottles are $70 roughly or more. Sometimes, like we said, upper 60s, but usually around $70. We usually buy this in the 1 gallon, which if you guys want, I can link it in the show notes after this stream uploads. Depending on how long we go, the stream can take like a whole day to upload to a video. But if you're in Discord, I'll put it in Discord for you all. I'm still on my little Zuckerberg ban on Facebook in terms of they won't let me post in groups for some reason until like next Friday or Saturday. Otherwise, I would put it in there. But I'll put it in our Discord as well. for the best price on that. It's one, and I'm not affiliated, like I always say, I'm not affiliated with these companies or anything at all. The 1 gallon is about, we'll just say $3.75. We've gotten it lately as low as like $3.73, but again, we'd rather overestimate on that. So if you divide that by 128 ounces, because we know that a gallon is 128 ounces, you're going to be paying about $3 a gallon, mixing it at 1 ounce per gallon. Well, actually, not quite. Let's see, 120. Not quite $3. I think like $2 and was it like 280 something, maybe 290. Either way, right around $3 per gallon, right? So, like we said, it's expensive. Now, if you're mixing it half an ounce per gallon for the inside, not as bad, right around $1.50 to $2, but we primarily only use it outside, and then inside we'll go ahead and just use like Lambda. That'll usually take care of it. If you use that two as a combination, these two as a combo, inside, outside, then usually that will definitely, knock out any spider issue, or at least get you on a very fast track to get it under control. Sometimes it'll take a couple treatments, but like I said, to me, this is definitely worth the money. It is expensive. Y'all might want to fact check me on this. I think it's still cheaper than Suspend Polyzone though. So, and like I say, you might want to fact check that. It's been 3 years since I've even looked at Suspend Polyzone, so I might be wrong on that. But I believe it's cheaper still, and it does a way better job, in my opinion. Again, this is from my experience in the Dallas, Texas area. I hate taking a drink during a video, but sometimes you just got to. Let's see. Let's chat. I'm on Facebook. Let's go. Maybe marketing and networking is my jam. Hell yeah. Yeah, you'll have to join our Facebook group if you're not in our Facebook group already. Rue knows. And if y'all are wondering why I'm like all up in the camera, it's because I'm doing this from my phone, so I'm pulling up the chat, seeing if you all have any questions. Because of course, if you guys have any questions, I see we got 6 or 7 of you in here right now. If you have any questions, shout it out in the chat. That's what this live stream is all about. This is just answering your pest control business questions specifically. But even if you're a technician and you just have questions about the industry or anything, just shout it out in the chat. There's no stupid question here at the end of the day. We just want us all to grow and to make as much money and to make our customers happy at the end of the day. I think dust will slowly fade away. Rarely use it. Where are you at again, my world? I forget about that. Where you are exactly. I feel like it's somewhere up north, but I forget off the top of my head. I only use it for light sockets. Yeah, that's not a bad idea either. Which I do sometimes too. Let's see. I keep Onslaught in my truck at all times. Yeah. Onslaught Fast Cap is amazing. California. Okay. Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't even banned dust there. To be honest, they're banning it seems like everything else. Speaking of which, you reminded me of my last chemical that I guess I should put on here from the rodent side of things. So I'm gonna keep this here, and then we'll put. We'll say, per treatment. So per treatment, you're actually going to be looking right around $4 to $6. Because I'm trying to give you guys like a breakdown of like the cost per treatment, all that kind of stuff. And again, these are just our go-tos. I keep reiterating this just in case anyone's tuning in. In our last week's video, I did a full breakdown of like every chemical. I didn't go as to deep detail about the pricing, but I went into deep detail on, all the, I think did we? We may have talked about pricing a little bit, but in that stream specifically last week, we went through all like 15 plus chemicals that we use. The last one or two technically for rodent, which I'll kind of, I guess, mark this off right here since it's, this is pest up here, and then this will be rodent down here. We use, what's it called, Generation Mini Blocks. I'll just put Generation Mini. That's for rats. We use that for rats primarily because we found that the rats love this stuff. They don't seem to like, at least down here, they don't seem to like, what's the one we use for mice? Contract all-weather blocks, or really anything that company makes. But we still keep that on the truck. It works great on mice, I found. And that is Contract. Is it Contract or Contract? I forget. All weather. And like I said, there's a couple different ones that they make, but the Contract all weather, one, it's one of the cheaper ones that they make, but two, it works great on mice. And again, this is just here in the Dallas, Texas area. Generation Mini, Contract all weather. Prices, Generation is definitely more expensive. We get it's like not a pallet, but like a bucket of it, similar to the Contract all weather. This is like a square bucket, and it's like somewhere around $105 plus tax. That 5 looks kind of sloppy. And then of course, Contract all weather, I haven't bought it in a while. If I recall, it's usually around $90 roughly, maybe even less, maybe in the 80s. I'll put a little arrow down because it might even be cheaper, but it's usually somewhere around there, like $90 or so. And then of course you got your snap traps. You can use any snap trap you prefer. I was using Victor for the longest, and then about a year or so ago we switched to Jaws. Jaws, as well as the Jaws that, who is it? Oh my gosh, can't think of the name now. They make pretty much everything out here in terms of rodent work. But Jaws is what we use primarily, the Jaws rat trap specifically, the bigger one. The only thing I don't like about them is occasionally if a rat goes in at the wrong angle, it doesn't kill it immediately, which of course, we try to make it as humane as possible and all that. Not to mention, who actually enjoys, outside of the occasional psychopath, I guess, who actually enjoys having to, put an animal of any kind out of his misery. At least, again, me personally, I don't really enjoy it, and that's not very often, but they're a little more expensive than the Victor. But again, you can use obviously whatever snap trap you want. But yeah, that's what we use. And we usually, when we're using the Generation Mini blocks, we'll put 3 blocks per the little bar that it comes with in the bait station, which it comes with 2, so I'll put 6 blocks per bait station, unless if it's a customer that's signing up for like our everything plan that we also talked about in last week's video or last week's live stream, where we talked about our pricing on services and all that. If they sign up for like our everything plan and they don't really have a rodent issue, instead of using 6 blocks, we'll only use like 4. We'll put 2 and 2, and then with Contract we'll do even less. If it's just for precautionary reasons, we'll just put 1 per station or 2 maybe. And then if they have an issue with mice or something, we'll go ahead and draw that arrow down far enough. We'll go ahead and load that bait station up as well. And sometimes we'll even get creative if we're dealing with a pain in the ass rat specifically. We'll set a trap inside of the station as well. Let's see. How's it going, Blaze Pest Control? What is your protocol for fruit flies in restaurants? With fruit flies, man, of course, when it comes to that, it's a source issue, right? Let's see, final block. Oh, talking about the rodent stuff. Obviously, it's a source issue, right? First and foremost, you got to get rid of the source. If you're not going to get rid of the source, you're not going to get rid of the problem. Now, assuming that there doesn't really seem to be a source or anything like that, yes, T-Rex. That's another one that we use too. Oh my gosh. What was I saying? Oh yeah, assuming that you've done everything, like the restaurant owner's done everything they can as well, you may want to use, there's a chemical, what is it called, like BioDrain. That is one route you could go, or because you may potentially be not even dealing with fruit flies. You may be dealing with forward flies or something, right? You might be dealing with something that's actually coming from the drain. So at that point, you may want to use either bio drain or even just old school bleach, taking about a half a cup of bleach, pouring it down the drain. Tell them to do that every night after close, so it has a few hours to sit there and kind of break up whatever is inside of those pipes. Do that for about a week. Shouldn't even take a week in all honesty, but do it for about a week just to be on the safe side, because it is a restaurant. May take longer than usual. And then usually if it is something that's coming from the drain, instead of, being a fruit fly and it is a forward fly or something instead, then that would get rid of it. But yeah, if it's a fruit fly, I mean, with any type of fly, right, it's going to be a source issue. You got to get rid of the source. If you don't get rid of the source first and foremost, you're not going to get rid of the issue. But like we said, sometimes there are those rare occasions where we think we might be dealing with, say, a fruit fly or something, but you may actually be dealing with forward flies or, something coming from the drains or something in the plumbing in general. So usually something like a bio drain if you're wanting to be more professional about it, or simply, half a cup to a cup of bleach, pour that shit down every drain, and usually within a week of doing it the right way, not running water down it immediately. Hence why I said tell them to do it at close when everybody's going home. That way there's no water, running it completely down the drain already. It'll give it time to do its thing overnight, and then hopefully within a few days to a week, that'll get rid of it. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see, I bought some T-Rex knockoffs on Amazon, 3 times less the cost. I'll have to look that up. My World. Let's see, Final Blocks, dry bait, first strike, soft bait, work well for me in New Jersey. Yeah, and I think Final Block, if I remember right, they're made by the same company that makes the Contract. And I think my cousin in the Midwest actually used that too for a little bit. I used Trapper T-Rex. Yeah, T-Rex. Yep, that's the one that I believe. I don't think it was Trapper. I think Catchmaster. Finally remembered the name. We have some Catchmaster ones as well that we use. If we know for a fact, because down here in Texas, which if you're in New Jersey, you probably deal with some of them too. We deal with some massive ass rats down here. Some that are like bigger than, the palm of your hand, like in terms of just their body, not including their tail. Let's see. Source is always the issue. Yep, exactly. So take a screenshot of this, and you'll probably need to zoom in if you're wanting to look at, the pricing and stuff. Like I said, 3 seconds until I, erase this. I'm giving you all time if anyone wants to take a screenshot of it or anything. Like I said, this is just the stuff that is our go-to chemicals. It's not by any means all of our chemicals. Like I said, if you want a list of every single chemical that we use for Preferred Pest Management, the company that I own here in the Dallas, Texas area, go check out last week's stream. If you go to the channel, it'll show videos and then live streams or something like that. They break up the different types of videos now apparently. They'll have videos, shorts, live streams. If you go to live streams, it'll literally be the most recent live stream from last week. Somewhere in that video, I forget how long in, like I said, I'm going to go in there and put chapters if I haven't already. And somewhere in that video, I give a full breakdown on 15 different chemicals that we use. These are just our chemicals that we use on pretty much a daily basis at some point in the day. So hopefully you guys, took a screenshot of that. I'm going to go on to, I thought we had another question. Let me double check. There was something else that we were going to break down as well. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and erase this. So like I said, this is just the go-to chemical. Hopefully anyone that wanted a screenshot got their screenshot. If not, of course it's YouTube. You can rewind and get a screenshot at any time. And of course, if you're liking the stream so far, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. it lets me know you guys like these live streams and want us to keep doing them for you all and all that stuff. And if you're tuning in for the first time and you don't know who I am, of course, like I mentioned a second ago, I'm the owner of Preferred Pest Management here in the Dallas, Texas area. We've been in business for about 3 years now. I've been in the industry overall, about 6 years or so now? 2020. Yeah, about 5 or 6 years total, 6 years now total. And we grew that company to a 6-figure company our first year in business, which is a lot to some people. Apparently, they're like, man, you should let people know that you did that. And I'm like, I mean, it's 6 figures, not 7. I'll be more satisfied once we get to 7. But pretty much all I do is I just, answer your questions. I know there's a lot of you who are looking to start a pest control business, and we just do this. We try to do this every week, but sometimes life happens and we only get to it once every couple weeks. But we come here and answer your questions and all that good stuff. I'm not on Discord, but I am in your Facebook group. Oh, awesome. Yeah, in the Facebook group. We just started that this year too, and that's already growing. The Discord's been around for years, because for those of you that haven't been following the channel very long, if you look, I got over like 500-600 videos on the channel total, if you include shorts and live streams and everything. Started out, selling stuff on Amazon and eBay, doing the whole flipping stuff, and made good money doing it actually, especially for a 17-18-year-old. But then ended up taking money and doing stock market trading and all that. We have a lot of stock market trading videos if you're ever interested in like just learning about how to invest money or trade. I don't suggest most people trade. You should invest, because trading is like a whole business and job of its own. But if you're ever interested in that, we have topics on that as well from way back. And then of course, now we're full in on our pest control business. How's it going? Xavier Durant, how's it going? Haven't purchased a truck. Are there any other options opposed to buying one at the start? So I will say there are people who they will start their business with any car that they've got and they will make it work. As a matter of fact, for the first roughly few days, I started my pest control business out of my Ford Focus. I had 2 5-gallon jugs that I would fill up with water. I had my 5-gallon screw-on, lid. It was literally like one of those buckets you get from Home Depot and you can put a lid on top. Had that for my, my granular we were just talking about. And then I, sat my backpack in there with the battery, had my BNG in there, all in the trunk right there. Just couldn't put a Webster pole in there at the end of the day. But we had pretty much everything set up, ready to go. Luckily, I did end up selling that car. It was a paid off car, took that equity from the car and put it down on a truck, or put a little bit down on a truck, and then kept the rest as like a, rainy day, knowing that it's going to take money to obviously get customers and get us through the first couple months, right? So luckily that didn't last very long for me. But the whole point in saying that is people start businesses with all sorts of vehicles. Now, do you want to do that long term? Obviously not. Like, you want to look the most professional that you can at the end of the day. And say you do have a car that is at least in good shape, like you have a good car that doesn't look like a beater, obviously, or anything like that. And if you can at least afford to maybe get some labels put on it, obviously like here in Texas, you have to have your TPCL number on it regardless. But if you can afford to get a little $300 labeling put down the side of your vehicle, you all seen my truck probably by now. If you haven't, I have a video on it that, gives you a full breakdown of our truck. Our labeling only costs like right at $300. Like, it wasn't too expensive or anything. It's not a over the top wrap or anything, but everyone can see it. Everyone can see the phone number. Everyone can see a QR code, scan it, whatever. And we usually get a couple customers a year off of it. But more than anything, it looks more professional too than just rolling up in an unmarked car. It's bad enough. I don't get how people do it. They'll roll up. Even my own grandfather, his pest control company in the Midwest, he's just a one-man show. He's been a one-man show forever. He has no labeling on his truck whatsoever. No numbers, like nothing. And I'm like, dude, like, why? Like, why not just go ahead and label your vehicle? Even if you don't even, because you're like, I don't want people calling me. I don't want to get any bigger. I'm like, then don't put your phone number, but at least put your brand or something. Make it look a little more professional. Like, the more professional you can make it, the better. And at the end of the day, people are going to judge you based on your service more than your looks. Like, obviously, we want to look the best we can, the most professional, this and that. But at the end of the day, they're going to judge you based on the quality of that service. So, like I said, I know people that run it out of cars, SUVs. A lot of people lately have been switching to like the Jeep Gladiators and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, you just work with what you got and then, focus on saving up some sort of a down payment as soon as possible to hopefully get you in a truck. So hopefully that helps. Let's see. Finals loaded with seeds of rodents. Love, bit pricier than contract. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Let's see. What did you do for dewebbing those days? So yeah, I pretty much, in all honesty, just didn't deweb. I only had in that week, maybe 2 customers. One, luckily, was an apartment complex. The second one was actually a rodent job too. So I was lucky I didn't even need to deweb during that time. But I will say, one way you can get around that as well is obviously, you can push your seats down, like push your back seat down, and then just get you a Webster pole that'll break down to like 6 feet. And then from there, you just navigate it at like a corner to corner, instead of trying to just put it straight in, put it from like one corner of your trunk to like the opposite corner of, like your front seat. And 6 feet, that's broken down plenty. And there's a lot of poles, if you look on Amazon, they'll start as low as like 6 feet and they'll go as high as like 24 feet now, 24 to 26 feet. So yeah, you have to do a little bit of research on it to find it. We got lucky with ours. That pole that we just bought recently is no longer available on Amazon for some reason, which is unfortunate because it was a great pole, and it still is, like I still use it today. But it breaks down to like 5 feet and it'll expand up to like 26 feet, 24, 26, something like that. So if it can break down to 5 to 6 feet, you'll be able, like I said, push your back seat in or whatever the case may be and navigate it in there. That's one way you can work around that. At my next stop in Newark, New Jersey. Thanks for your info. Oh yeah, no problem at all. We are in a diverse business. Ideas help a bunch. Yeah, no, most definitely. Yeah, awesome to see you, man. You're an hour ahead of me, so it's almost 1 o'clock and you're working on a Saturday. Look at y'all. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And yeah, like I said, shout out to you all for tuning in on a Saturday. You all could be doing anything. You could be hopping in a pool on this hot summer day. You could be, BSing, watching Netflix instead of, YouTube, learning, educating yourself on this industry. But you all are here trying to grow your knowledge. So, shout out to you all. You're already on your way. I can't stress that enough. Like, I always hear from other YouTubers that I will watch and, get my advice from on various topics in business and whatnot. They're like, yeah, you all are already in the 1%, because 99% of people are not going to take the time to watch. Like, when they get on YouTube, TikTok, all that, they're looking at bullshit. They're looking at girls shaking their ass and all this other stuff, or, tuning out on Netflix, binging a series for a whole week or whatever the case may be. But, you're here, trying to learn. Same thing goes to you all. I know it sounds cliche. You probably hear it from other people too, like me, but like I said, you're already on your way. The fact that you're not just watching, like, it's not that I think highly of my content or anything. I'm just saying, like, you guys probably understand what I'm saying, but I want to make sure no one gets it the wrong way, receives the information the wrong way. Like, the fact that you're taking time on a Saturday to, even if this information for whatever reason doesn't help you at all, you're still taking the time to at least receive information from somebody who, has kind of quote unquote been there, done that. So, like I said, shout out to you all for that. And let me see, like I said, if y'all have any questions, of course, just shout it out there in the comments. We do this for you all at the end of the day. And oh wow, we've already got 5 likes on the stream. So yeah, no, I appreciate all the likes and everything. Lets me know that you guys like these streams and want me to keep doing them. We try to do these streams once a week at the minimum, usually on the weekend, Saturday or Sunday, unless if I'm working on the weekend, you know how it goes, right? So another question that I do tend to get, and if we don't get any more questions, this will probably be the last question that we'll refer to for the day. A question that I get is a lot about Gorilla Desk. A lot of people are almost confused about, hey, what's the difference between Gorilla Desk, the CRM, versus Gorilla Desk, the SEO? And just to be fully transparent, we're no longer as of April, May, using Gorilla Desk for any type of SEO website. We're not using them for anything other than the CRM side of things. Their CRM is great, and I'm not even dogging, I'm not talking bad or anything about their SEO service or anything at all. It worked relatively well. I love the website alone that they built for us is worth the money that we paid over the roughly 1 year that we used them. But we just decided to go a different route for the actual the money that we were continuing to pay them. We were able to save at first $500 a month and then an additional $200 a month by just going a different route. And it's just working out for us at the end of the day. So like I said, not dogging them or anything, but the whole point of this question is, so I'll put on one side, we'll kind of break this down like this. We'll just have a line right here. So on one side, I'll just put GD, which is obviously Gorilla Desk. We'll put SEO, and then Gorilla Desk CRM. So hopefully there's a little bit of clarity just from doing this alone, because a lot of people seem to be thinking that Gorilla Desk, these two are just one platform, one service essentially, and that's not the case. So the Gorilla Desk CRM, that's going to I'm going to kind of just list off random things that it comes with, quote unquote. So of course you have a service calendar. I think I spelled calendar wrong. I think it's with an E right here. Whatever. I'm not on plan to be in a spelling competition. Service calendar, it comes with sales forecast, lead tracker. What else does it come with? Multiple, you can have, I think, up to 75 texts or something like that. Up to 75 routes, or maybe more. I think if you include yourself, 76. Pricing is $99 per month, then $49 per user, and that's referring to the routes, how many routes. Say for example, we just hired our first technician. Once we get him put on, that'll be another $49. So you're not paying $99 to $99 to $99. It's just $99 and then $49 per user that you add. So hopefully that makes sense. And there's more in here too. I just want to kind of I just wanted to kind of list out, what the CRM is exactly. And we've done a whole video on, a Gorilla Desk tutorial because they had the version 3 that just came out this past year. I think early winter or over winter, early spring that came out. I give you guys we go on my actual desktop screen and break that down, so you guys can check that out if you want, just to get a look at it. There's a lot more here than what I'm listing. This is just, again, I'm trying to let you guys know the differences whenever we refer to Gorilla Desk CRM versus Gorilla Desk SEO. And like I said, we're no longer using Gorilla Desk SEO, at least for our company. we're just using Gorilla Desk CRM. But we did use them in the past. We still use the theme for our website that they created for us. Because when you pay the initial fee, which is like $12.49, something like that, you get everything, when you leave, essentially. So if you were to decide to leave. So CRM, SEO. As for the SEO services, you get the GMB, or I guess it's, what's it called now? Google Business Profile, so is that GBP? Posts. They classify it as Google Business Profile Optimization. They use that word kind of lightly, in my opinion. This is my one critique of them when it comes to the SEO service. They're not really optimizing the page. All that they do is within the CRM, which by the way is already in here, review generation. So with review generation, anytime you complete a work order out, it will send the customer an email requesting a Google review. And that comes in this for free. But that's part of what they do. They make sure that that's turned on for you in case if you had it turned off for some reason. Then they will go in there and post like 1 to 3 times per week on your Google Business Profile in the update section. And they'll just kind of reuse the same posts throughout the year. They don't, continue to create new posts or anything like that. They just set it up on a schedule and it just runs them nonstop, which is better than not posting at all. I will say that it's better than not utilizing the Google Business Profile update section. It's better than nothing, but it's not really like optimization or anything like that. And of course they'll post photos for you too, but you got to send the photos to them. So it's like, you might as well just upload them yourself. You're already going through that work. You might as well just do it yourself. The next thing, this is kind of broken down into 2 things. You have the Google Business Profile, and then you have the website. You can pay for just one or the other. In this example, I'm going to assume that, the package we went with, it was both of them because it is the better deal. Whenever you look at their pricing, it's the best deal to go ahead and do the Google Business Profile Management loosely. And then the website creation and optimization as well, which again, loose term, the website's not really optimized at all, but they will create WordPress website. And WP right there stands for WordPress. It's a WordPress website, and they will create it with your service pages. Pretty much, a pretty standard basic website overall. It'll come with service pages, like 1 or 2 location pages. If you want more location pages, like us, for example, we've got like a dozen location pages. They want to charge you like $50 per location page, which, little tip, it takes you like 5 to 10 minutes to create a location page. You can do it very easily, but they'll do that. And then they're hosting the website. So when I say hosting, they actually use a third party for the hosting. I forget the name of the company. I ended up researching it myself. It's a company, it's like located in Virginia, if I recall, and it covers the hosting as well. Otherwise, that's pretty much it. You're responsible for optimization, creating content. Now you can send all of that to them and have them format it and upload it to the website for you. They will do that, but that's pretty much what you're getting. And the cost, like I said, if I recall, was $12.49 for the initial, and then $9.99 per month going forward. And it's a little rich, I'll be honest. Now there is more expensive out there. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot more expensive out there, to be honest. But for what you're getting, in my opinion, I think I brought this up in a previous stream when someone was asking about Gorilla Desk, SEO specifically, was in my opinion, they'd be best just to kind of get rid of this altogether. Just don't even sell that as a service, because it doesn't, like I said, it's my only critique of them. Everything else about Gorilla Desk I love. The Google Business Profile Management, they need to do away with it. It's just, I don't want to say it's robbery or thievery, but they need to learn a lot more about it if they're gonna like offer it as a service. Just again, my critique, my own opinion. What they should do is they should just sell this. Either just sell this or offer a package where they get rid of the hosting and they just sell this. They create websites. They're a website builder. Because, you know, yes, it's gonna get rid of this. It's getting rid of their monthly cash flow. And I understand more than anybody as a businessman now how much monthly cash flow matters to a business. But what's gonna keep customers coming back? You sell them what they need that you do a very good job at, and they send referral after referral after referral for you on that, or you know, people that aren't necessarily completely satisfied, but you at least got 6 to 12 months of cash flow out of them at the end of the day. Like I said, that's my main critique with them on that. Hopefully, that kind of answers the questions that I've been getting too about like what's the difference between Gorilla Desk SEO versus Gorilla Desk CRM. Like I said, when it comes to the CRM, it's the best in the industry. I have yet to have found a better product, especially for the price, that works better than Gorilla Desk for CRM. I mean, and it's getting better literally day by day. And what would be even more, like what would be even better, in all honesty, is if they found a way for the websites that they've created, whenever someone submits a form, if it would automatically put that form into the CRM as a lead. Complete game changer at that point. And who knows? I know one of the owners of Gorilla Desk watches some of my content from time to time. He may message me and let me know that, hey, we now do offer that or something. And if so, I'll definitely update you guys and let you know. But if they were able to somehow link your forms on your website to your Gorilla Desk CRM to where you don't even have to like put in the information. Like, of course, if a customer calls you, you still have to put in the information. But say they go on your website and submit a inquiry, if that automatically uploaded into your leads center, the leads tab there in Gorilla Desk, that would be a game changer. I'd be willing to pay $25 a month more just for that, just for the amount of time that it's saving from having to like copy paste all that information, because it adds up. If you get an average of say 3 leads a day coming in and it takes you 2 minutes per form, that's 6 minutes a day, at the minimum, 6 minutes a day times 5 to 6 days a week, that's over half an hour a week. You know, in terms of a month, ends up being 2 hours a month. Time is money, right? So it's, you know, $25, even $50 a month. I mean, to me, that's an option that they should definitely consider. And like I said, they may already, because like I said, I'm always seeing new stuff that's being uploaded on there almost on a weekly basis. Like I said, for CRM, great platform. And maybe someday on the SEO stuff, they'll definitely, you know, they're already leading the industry when it comes to CRM. Maybe in the future they'll lead the industry when it comes to SEO. It's a very new service they just started offering within the last 2 years. So like anything, I'm sure there's growing pains. They're learning, you know, that's why I'm being very soft, like with my critique. I'm not bashing them, leaving them bad reviews, anything like that. It's just, like I said, we ended up going a different route. We're managing most of it in-house. When I say in-house, me, I've learned a lot when it comes to SEO, which I'm sure a lot of you guys that have been following the channel see some of the posts that I've been posting on the channel, you know, trying to help you guys optimize your own website. And yeah, if we don't have any more questions for today, we do apparently. How's it going, Julio? In a 4-gallon backpack sprayer, do I need to put 4 ounces of product or does 1 ounce still hold for what type of chemical? Let's see, you asked that at 11:51, so that was about 10 minutes ago. If you're still here, which chemical are you referring to? Are you referring to Onslaught Fast Cap that we were talking about earlier? If so, Onslaught, you need to mix it at 1 ounce per gallon. You can mix it at ½ ounce per gallon too, but 1 ounce per gallon is going to be optimal, especially for the exterior treatment. I believe interior you can only mix it at ½ ounce per gallon, but that's if we're talking about Onslaught. And then Xavier, when doing services, do you spray overhead ever? I try to stay away from it, but I do have some pretty cool safety glasses I just bought recently that actually go over my glasses and fit perfectly. It's pretty badass actually. And they were only like 10 bucks. But I try to stay away from that. But, you know, we're just talking about Onslaught Fast Cap. If I have a home that either A, deals with a lot of spiders, or B, deals with a lot of wasp, like down here, a lot of homes have pools, of course. So with that, there's a lot of wasp activity during the spring, summer, fall months. If I notice that, then sometimes I'll like spray, you know, say they have a pergola, you know, covering their back patio or something like that. I'll kind of spray that only if the weather is like optimal for it too. Like I'm not gonna do it if obviously there's even laws on the, you know, there's laws about, you know, if it's over 10 miles an hour, you know, don't spray this for this, that, and the other, like mosquito treatments and all that, with good reason, obviously. But, you know, it's common sense, you know, like if it's kind of breezy, no. If it's good weather, you know, not very windy, which during summertime, it's hardly ever windy in the Dallas, Texas area, unless the storm's coming through. But assuming it's not really windy or anything, you know, I just stand back, and you know, you'll learn after doing it a few times the angles to stand to keep, you know, yourself from like quote unquote being sprayed on or overspray hitting you or anything like that. And then of course just wear the proper PPE on top of that, and you'll be good to go. Like I was mentioning, I recently finally, my boneheaded ass, bought some safety glasses that would actually go over my glasses. They're not goggles, but they're glasses that literally just sit on my nose right over top of them. They work perfectly, because for the longest, my stupid ass would, you know, think that I wasn't getting any overspray on me, and then, you know, I don't have Lambda written up here anymore, but anyone that's used Lambda 9.7 or Seismic CS or Demand CS, you know what I'm about to talk about. That chemical burn when you get it on your face, whew, it's the worst. And it never hits until you really get home, I find. And for the longest, I would get it like just right up around here for some reason, like the angle I was doing it or whatever. And yeah, now that I wear the proper PPE, it doesn't happen. What a surprise, right? So, like I said, I try to avoid it when I can, but sometimes, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to, you know, do the job. How's it going, Bryson? Where do you recommend buying a skid sprayer, and do you think it's essential to have one? Definitely essential to have one if you're going to do any termite work. Let's see, or would you be fine with just a backpack sprayer? Yeah, so it's funny you bring that up. We were talking about that earlier in the stream. You know, when it comes to doing our general pest regs, I am completely fine with a couple 5-gallon jugs, backpack sprayer, good to go. But when it comes to doing termite work, let's see, like if I'm just starting a business, should I get a skid sprayer rag? It depends. Like I said, it still depends how much termite work you're planning on doing. You know, if you're not really planning on doing much termite work, you know, don't worry about it. Or one route you could go to is wait until you do actually sell your first termite job and then go buy the sprayer. The thing is when you go to buy the sprayer, you need to make sure wherever you're buying the sprayer that, you know, what's the time frame in terms of when are you going to get it, when is it going to be hooked up. That, like, luckily for me, down here in the Dallas, Texas area, I think I shouted them out on a recent video or stream that we did about where I get my pest control equipment from. equipment and chemical, all that. There's a place in Garland, Texas called Pestco Pumps, almost like Petco. It's spelled Pesco and then pumps. And they actually sell their stuff online too, so you could go look them up. I'm actually going to write it here. Almost forgot about even having the whiteboard back here for a second. That is Pesco Pumps. Ooh, I'm messing up my M's today. Pesco Pumps. And you can tell them Griffin from Preferred Pest Management sent you if you want. Like I said, I'm not affiliated with any of these companies or anything. I just like to, let people know whenever someone sends me. Maybe it's just a Texas thing at the end of the day, but they have some really good equipment. They've been doing this for, God, I don't even know how long. At least like 2 decades, as far as I'm aware. And if you're in the area, you can go there. I don't know if they'll actually ship it, but I know you can view all their inventory online. You can call, chat with them if you wish, but that's one route you can go in terms of the equipment side of it. Of course, the most expensive thing we're going to buy is the skid sprayer, the rig, quote unquote. Just to put in perspective, like I said, my first one that I bought, 35 gallons setup with an electric pump and everything. They hooked it up for me, out the door, was right around $1,500. It was a used setup, refurbished and everything. Then the only thing I've had, I forgot about that. The only other thing I've had to do to it is buy a $300 new hose setup. That included them completely unwinding the old one, putting the new one on, hooking it up, out the door, $300. Only took them maybe 45 minutes or so to do. But other than that, and that was just because the hose it came with, I could tell it was, on its last leg, had been repaired. And then one day it finally just busted in one spot. And I was like, I'm not repairing this shit. I'm just going to get it replaced altogether. Start out with a new hose and be done. And it still lasted me almost 2 full years before that hose finally shit out on me one day. So their equipment is great there. But if you don't have a way to either go to them or get the equipment from them, whoever you're going to use, just see what the timing is on it. That way you can try to plan if you're trying to wait until you sell a termite job, because the worst thing you can have happen is you plan on waiting until you sell a termite job and then that termite job ends up falling through because they're like, shit, I'm not going to wait 3 weeks to have my termite treatment done. I'll just go with somebody else. Then you just bought that with money that you were expecting, and that money never came through, and you're in this lingo of, shit, what am I going to do? So definitely be careful if you go that route. Have a credit card, if nothing else. I'm not big on, credit card, the whole credit card game, but this is business at the end of the day. It's not consumer debt that you're never going to pay off. This is for your business. So do what you got to do. Hopefully that kind of gave you some insight. Griffin, do we have a separate license? Do you have a separate license? Yes. So, yes and no. So termite is classified still under the same industry, under the same commercial business license, but you have to test out, for example, like I was referring to back at the beginning of the video when we were talking about how to actually become certified to start a pest control business. I had to pass a certified applicator exam for each category. So I could start a business just as a pest control business if I pass just the pest control business certified applicator exam and the general. You have to pass the general no matter what, otherwise you can't start a business in anything. So if you pass, say, the pest and the general, you can start a pest control business. I passed the pest, the general, and the termite. Therefore, under my pest control business license, we are legally able to treat for all the general pest stuff as well as the termite side. I don't know very many companies. There's a couple lawn companies that I can tell they're certified in weed and pest, but not termite. But outside of that, pest control companies specifically here, I don't know very many, if any, pest control companies. who aren't certified in the pest and termite category. In all honesty, the termite side was ironically way easier than the pest side when it came to the exams, which was kind of funny to me, especially since I was only a pest control technician. I never had experience in the termite side of it before starting my own business. Let's see. No real termite. Oh yeah, Oregon. That's right. That's right. Then yeah. I mean, in all honesty, Bryson. I think that's your name, right? Bryson. Yeah. In all honesty, Bryson, you probably be fine without it. And it's something where, maybe you just set aside X amount, like a percentage of every sale in a separate savings account or something. If you're really trying to like cash flow your business expenses, which is smart, by the way. As much as you can. Obviously, if you really want to expand, you're going to have to use debt and credit, but that's a whole different subject. I'm not even in that playing field yet myself. We're getting close to that, but not yet. But yeah, assuming you're trying to like cash flow it, then what you could do also is just set aside, say, 10% of every sale. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but say you have a $10,000 month, that's $1,000. Like, depending on where you get a rig, like, that's going to be a majority of your cost right there. Now, obviously, if you're going through like Q Spray or somebody, one of these more like official companies that's going to be brand new setup and everything, you're probably going to be paying closer to like $4,000 or more. I've heard there's some for like $3,000 or so, but most of them are like $4,000 plus. I would suggest, you're in Oregon, so Pesco probably isn't going to help you a whole lot, unless if, like I said, they do ship, but I'm sure that the shipping would be astronomically high on a rig. What I would do if I was you, any of you all who aren't in, remotely close to the Dallas, Texas area, is literally just go online and type in just different types of like keywords like pest control skid sprayer setup used, or used pest control skid sprayer setup, or used pest control rig, or just different types of searches, right? You guys know how to use Google at the end of the day. Like just go in there and search, and don't be afraid to scroll past page 1 either, because who's going to be on page 1? The ones with the money trying to sell you the brand new setups, right? So like Q Spray and all these companies are going to be the first ones to show up. Go ahead and scroll down, and just go through website by website. Of course, most of it's gonna, you're gonna go in and be like, no, this isn't what I was looking for, and go back out. But eventually, you may end up finding somebody who is similar to Pesco Pumps, who they literally just rebuild a bunch of stuff for a living, and they'll get you a nice little hookup on a skid sprayer setup. Last thing you can do, of course, if you're kind of, more handy, my cousin actually did this, and I believe he still has this. He may not anymore, actually, because now he does weed stuff, or like weed and fertilizer type of stuff, and I think he had to get a bigger setup now. But when he first started his pest control company, he was in the same predicament of like, don't really have the money to buy it right now, but I know I may end up needing it at some point. Or if nothing else, it'll make my life easier, not having to worry about running out of water for pest control and stuff like that. He ended up literally building his own skid sprayer setup. He went and bought, it's like a 50-gallon tank. I don't remember where he got it from, like Tractor Supply or something like that, one of these farm places. Went and bought the just giant 50-gallon water tank. Then he, just started buying all the equipment. He bought the pump, he bought the hoses and the clamps, and he ended up doing, I remember, because I'd be on the phone with him during the day while running my route, he probably did 10, 15 different trips to different stores, just finding everything he needed to get that thing completed. But here's the kicker, the whole setup only cost him about like $400 or $500. So it definitely was not bad in terms of, sure, it took him some time driving around, finding everything he needed, but, he got a whole brand new setup for somewhere around $500 or so, and it saved him a net. If he were to buy a brand new setup, it would have cost him, like we said, at least $3 or $4 grand. So he saved probably $2,500 or so. Like, when you're first starting out, that's a lot of money, right? So that may be a route you want to go to if you're more handy, which I know a lot of people in this industry are. You know, if you're able to work on a B&G, you can probably work on a lot of things, right? So yeah, do we have any more questions or anything? Hopefully that kind of helped answer that question, and hopefully my world, how I kind of broke down how our licensing works here in Texas. Hopefully that kind of makes sense as well. But yeah, hopefully you all have enjoyed the stream today. Hopefully you've taken some good information out of it. If you have, definitely hit that thumbs up button. I see we've got like 7 likes right now on the stream. I appreciate everybody liking the stream and showing the support and all that good stuff. And like I said, if you're in the Dallas, Texas area and you are needing any type of like pest control equipment, these guys here at Pesco Pumps, like I said, I'm not affiliated with them or anything like that. It's just a small like family owned business that, you know, they just build and fix. Even the big guys, like there's big companies down here like Massey and even Terminex. Terminex used to, but they actually started refusing Terminex's stuff because Terminex didn't pay them one time. It was a crazy situation, but that was actually when I was at Terminex. But a lot of the big guys will even take their equipment there to get it fixed up on because they just do really good work, and there's not a lot of companies that do that kind of stuff. And it beats buying stuff brand new, right? Another great class. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, yeah, I appreciate y'all tuning in. And yeah, no, if we don't have any more questions, I'll go ahead and wrap this up because wow, we're already over an hour and a half in today's stream. And like I said, if you all did enjoy the stream, just hit that thumbs up button for me. And it lets me know that you guys want me to keep doing this. We try, if you're new to the channel, by the way, we do these live streams about once a week, usually on the weekends, to help you guys start a pest control business. In terms of, you know, if you're a pest control technician, or you may not even be a pest control technician, you may just be, you know, looking around for different business ideas. I know I was in that same boat 5-6 years ago before I got in the pest control industry. You know, I just knew I wasn't going to be an employee forever. It's not me. It's not my DNA at the end of the day. And I wish that I had found a channel on YouTube or a podcast or whatever the case may be who would just, you know, kind of document their journey and answer questions along the way. Like I always say on here, I don't know everything, obviously, or I'd be the biggest pest control company in the world, right? But I just, you know, document my journey, and any questions that you guys may have, I answer them, you know, based on my experience. And if I don't know the answer, we'll just tell you straight up I don't know it, and hopefully maybe find the answer for you, because I'm sure it'll benefit me as well. So if you enjoyed today's stream, make sure to hit that subscribe button below and hit the bell icon. That way you won't miss the next stream we do next weekend. And feel free to check out the videos we've been posting the past week or two. I'm pretty much posting just about every single day now. Suggestion for a future class, maybe on the job. Oh yeah, no, that's actually a good idea, because I actually just bought some equipment recently where like I can, almost like a GoPro setup where you literally just stick your phone to your head essentially. You know, kind of like tutorial videos, and then of course I have the selfie stick that we could walk around with and all that type of stuff. Yeah, in the future, especially once I get my technician trained up, I plan on doing some more like in the field type of videos, just kind of, you know, showing you all like maybe like a day in the life or something like that. And yeah, that'll definitely be cool. And especially once it's not 100 degrees every day. A little hard to want to film whenever you're just trying to get back in the truck as soon as possible, right? So yeah, no, that's definitely going to be coming in the future once time's right here in the next, well, we're in Texas, so we still got like 2 months to go, 2 or 3 months to go in the summer still, but those will definitely be coming for you all. And yeah, if you have any questions after this video uploads, it's a longer stream, so it'll probably take it till later tonight or tomorrow for it to upload. But if you have any questions, just shout it out in the comments below. And like I said, feel free to check out any of the videos we've been posting lately about starting a pest control business. We're posting pretty much every single day. There's a couple days, you know, life happens and just don't get the time to get a good quality video out for you all. I try to post every day, but I'm not just going to throw out just a bad post for you all or anything. I want anything that we post on this channel to actually provide some value for you. That way you can, you know, start and grow your pest control business, not just worrying about hitting my, you know, one video a day. But we do try to post every single day here. But hopefully you guys, like I said, enjoyed the stream, took some good information from it. Go apply it to your life and your business. Go get that life that you and your family deserve. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, and I'll see you guys in the next stream and tomorrow's video. Take it easy, everybody.